A 2023 study from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health followed more than 4,500 patients with high blood pressure and found that those who changed their diet the right way lowered their systolic blood pressure by an average of 14 points. In just 8 weeks, no medication, no intense exercise, 14 points. And what shocked me the most was that most of those people had been doing it completely wrong before. They cut salt, they avoided salty food for years, and yet their blood pressure was still high. If you are doing the same thing and nothing is changing, then you need to watch this video all the way to the end. I want to tell you about one of my patients, Mr. Dennis, 68 years old, living in Ohio. He was a serious man who followed every piece of advice his doctor gave him. He cut salt. He ate so bland that his wife said their kitchen had become more boring than a hospital waiting room, and yet his blood pressure was still 148/92 for 3 years straight. Then one day he came to see me. I looked at his diet and I immediately understood the problem. He was cutting salt, but he was still drinking soda, eating white bread every morning, and snacking every afternoon. Those things are not salty, but they were quietly destroying his blood vessels from the inside through a mechanism that most people have absolutely no idea about. We changed his diet, not by cutting more salt, but by replacing the right things. 6 weeks later, his blood pressure dropped to 128/80. His wife called me and said he now looks younger than their son. I do not know if that is true, but I do know his blood pressure is at a safe level. And in today's video, I am going to show you exactly what Mr. Dennis did. Part 1. Why salt isn't the real problem. All right, I know that sounds a little crazy, especially when you have been told your whole life that salt is the #1 enemy of blood pressure. But let me explain one thing, and I promise I will not use any complicated words. Salt is not completely innocent, but it is not the root cause you think it is. The real problem starts with insulin. When you eat a lot of sugary foods or refined carbohydrates, your body pumps out a large amount of insulin to process that sugar. And what does high insulin do? It tells your kidneys to hold on to salt instead of flushing it out. Salt gets retained, water gets retained along with it, blood volume goes up, and blood pressure naturally climbs. That is why Mr. Dennis cut salt and saw no results, because his kidneys were being controlled by high insulin. Next is uric acid. This is a natural waste product in the body, but when you eat too much fructose, your body produces way too much uric acid. And a 2009 study from Johns Hopkins University found that high uric acid stiffens the walls of your blood vessels and reduces their ability to stretch. Think of your blood vessels like a rubber hose. When it is still soft and flexible, blood flows easily and pressure stays low. But when high uric acid makes it as stiff as a PVC pipe, your heart has to push much harder to get blood through, and that is high blood pressure. And finally, there is a lack of magnesium and potassium. These two minerals act like a natural pressure relief valve in your body. Potassium helps your kidneys flush out sodium, while magnesium helps the walls of your blood vessels relax and stay flexible. When you are low on both of these, your blood vessels cannot relax, staying tight like a guitar string wound too tight. And the sad thing is that most Americans over 60 are deficient in both of these minerals and have no idea. Part 2. Stop eating these foods. So what is driving insulin up and sending uric acid through the roof? The short answer is anything that is industrially processed and loaded with sugar. Here is the specific list I want you to pay attention to. First is soda and sugary drinks. A regular can of soda contains around 10 teaspoons of sugar, most of which is fructose. Fructose is exactly the raw material your body uses to produce uric acid. Just one can is already enough to cause trouble. Second is processed sweets like candy, packaged cookies, and those granola bars that seem healthy but actually contain more sugar than candy. Third is white bread and white rice. I know this is hard to hear for a lot of people, but white bread digests extremely fast and turns into blood sugar almost instantly, causing insulin to spike hard and fast. Fourth is packaged snacks like chips, crackers, or anything in a plastic bag that you eat while watching TV. They are not just salty, they also contain hidden sugar and refined starch that constantly stimulate insulin. And fifth is fast food. A typical fast food meal includes white bread, sweet sauces, French fries, and soda, meaning it packs every harmful thing into one single box. Very convenient, but working completely against your health. The common thread across all of these is that they continuously push insulin up, continuously drive uric acid higher, and at the same time provide almost zero magnesium or potassium. Part 3. Eat more of these instead. Now we get to my favorite part, because this is where I tell you what you should be eating more of instead of just hearing about what is off limits. These foods do one very important thing, which is help your body flush out sodium naturally, while also providing magnesium and potassium so your blood vessels can relax and your pressure can come down. First are dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains over 800 milligrams of potassium, which is an impressive number. And a 2021 study from the Cleveland Clinic confirmed that a diet rich in leafy greens reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 11 points in patients over 60 after just 10 weeks. Add them to your morning eggs, toss them into soup, whatever way works easiest for you. Next are sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. Sweet potatoes are especially rich in both potassium and magnesium, and they are naturally sweet, so you do not need to add any sugar. 1 medium sweet potato contains around 540 milligrams of potassium. This is the kind of food I like to call blood pressure medicine disguised as real food. Third are legumes like black beans, kidney beans, and lentils. Legumes contain potassium, magnesium, and fiber that slows down starch digestion, which keeps insulin from spiking suddenly. If you are not used to eating legumes, start with half a cup a day. Just toss them into a salad or soup, and you are done. Fourth is tomatoes and tomato products like homemade tomato paste or tomato sauce, not the canned kind with added sugar. Tomatoes are rich in potassium and lycopene, an antioxidant that helps protect the walls of your blood vessels from damage caused by uric acid. And finally, nuts like almonds, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. They are an excellent source of magnesium. 1 ounce of almonds, which is about a small handful, provides close to 80 milligrams of magnesium, enough to help your blood vessels unwind after a long, stressful day. And these also make the perfect snack to replace the chips and crackers I mentioned earlier. Part 4. What happens when you do this? When you actually start cutting back on foods that spike insulin and adding in more potassium and magnesium-rich foods, your body begins to change in a fairly clear sequence. In the first few days, your kidneys start flushing out more sodium because insulin is no longer telling them to hold on to it. You may urinate a little more than usual, and that is a good sign because your body is releasing pressure. Over the next few weeks, the walls of your blood vessels begin to regain their elasticity as uric acid levels drop and magnesium gets replenished. Your heart does not have to push as hard as before, and your blood pressure readings start to come down. And what is interesting is that most of my patients also report sleeping better, having fewer headaches, and feeling more alert in the morning. Not because I prescribed more medication, but simply because their diet changed. High blood pressure is not a life sentence. It is a signal your body is sending you, and you can absolutely answer it correctly with what you put on your plate every single day. Cut back on the things that make insulin climb, and add in the foods that let your blood vessels breathe. That is all you need to do to get started. You do not have to change everything at once. Just start with one small change today, because your body deserves to be taken better care of at any age. If this video was helpful to you, please share it with your family and loved ones so they can also learn how to protect themselves from high blood pressure, and give this video a like so it gets recommended to more people. And do not forget to subscribe so we can meet again in the next piece of advice. See you then.